'Cause when comes fall, it's always coming due. If all green is always on the sea, it was gonna always bring to life again. So get ready, 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 ready. Get ready, 'cause here they come.
All right, welcome aboard, everybody. Man Child Show with Boyd Green Digital at MC Show Digital, talking sports with you here on a Friday. It is our Brunch with Bud segment. We'll have him along in just a second, my old pal, Bud Poliquin. Today's broadcast brought to you by our friends at Northeast Roofing Professionals. Today's video brought to you by our friends at Cam's Pizzeria, where it is always love at first slice. Locations in Oswego, right up the block from Boyd Green. You can just walk over to Cam's from his nice little house. Very convenient for you, BG.
Bad
And
temptations.
beautiful palace, as I call it, in Camillus, or Camillus, as it really is. But, you know, why not emphasize the CA?
Yeah, sure. It makes sense.
For our friends at Cam's. So Tony and his family, who run both of those pizzerias, fantastic people, have been longtime sponsors of their program. So we bow to them for their unwavering support over all these years. Really, really love them to death for supporting us originally on the radio and now on our YouTube channel and our digital platform. So peace out to those guys. All right, let's bring him in. My former partner on the radio, now just enjoying the reimagined life at home along the lakesides, beautiful Lake Skaneateles, one of the Finger Lakes of good old central New York, the one, the only Bud Poliquin. Hey, Bud, how are you?
That would be Skaneateles Lake, not Lake.
Not Lake Skaneateles. You're right. I'm sorry. I did put
That's true. I don't think that, there are some things in life, Bud, that you can, sort of like it's potato. I don't think that's one of them.
Yeah.
Don't mess with my lake, boys. Don't mess with my lake.
Yes. It is a thing of beauty. It's the fountain of youth. You can see every time Bud comes on, doesn't he look a little younger? Because
Every day.
he goes, he gets his toe in that thing, and it is like, the fountain of youth.
Yeah, and two things here, Bud. I think I already know the answer to the first one, but I'll ask anyway. Do you remember Gaz at all from our days of all being together? Gaz, he worked on the show.
Tom Kozlowski, a.k.a. Gaz. Do you remember Tom?
I know the name, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have his face in my head, but I remember the name, absolutely.
Okay, all right. That makes
I'm really proud of you that you actually remember a name of a guy who was once our producer, who worked in the same building with us, who eventually hosted his own show, so on and so forth.
He did.
Go ahead, BG.
Yeah, the reason why I bring it up is Gaz is back in town. He's going to be hosting a new Bills show on the Score 1260. And he wanted me to show him the board, show him the ropes, like, riding a bike again. And we came in and he said, hey, how's Jimmy? How's Bud? How are they doing? And I'm like, well, I love Jim, love Bud. Bud, he gets to see my kids. He gets to be like a grandpa to the kids. Not grandpa, of course. Whatever G word
use that word around
in the audience.
Now watch it.
And speaking of words not to use, I said, but of course, Bud's reimagined now. And Gaz just smiled. He says, I love reimagine. He's like, there's only probably 4 people on the planet that know about the reimagined Bud thing. And me and you in this room are it. And I said, you know what? That's right. We do. We just had this warm moment just a few days ago talking about you, Bud, and your reimagined life.
Amazing.
Well, reimagined I am. Retired I'm not. So, yes, I appreciate that I haven't been forgotten by
I'll tell you what's been reimagined these days, Bud, in the world of sports, and that is Jaden Daniels' relationship with LSU. That thing's been reimagined. Jaden Daniels, current quarterback of the Washington Commanders, is furious, frankly, with LSU, has sent them a cease and desist. Get my posters off the wall. No, you're not no more representing me and you're using me as any kind of recruiting tool anymore. I'm out on LSU. Now, why did this happen? His former coach, Brian Kelly, promised him that he would not put the number, it's 5, right, Boyd Green? His number?
That's correct.
The number 5 on the back of a new recruit. Kelly has since been fired. Of course, Lane Kiffin is now the coach, and Lane Kiffin basically said, yeah, you could stick that way. You know what? All right. So long story short, there is a youngster coming in that is going to wear number 5. Daniels is furious about this, and therefore he wants out at LSU. Give me your sense of what's going on here. You on Daniel's side? Are you on Kiffin's side? Are you somewhere in the middle, my friend?
Well, the key issue is this number retired?
No.
Then Daniels really needs to get a life maybe outside of himself, that there's something else going on out there that he can be interested in, whether it's his career, whether it's the world, whether it's whatever. For him to be concerned that his unretired number is going to be used by somebody else, some college kid in some college somewhere, I know it's LSU, but some college kid at some college is going to the wearing of his uniform is going to affect the starting quarterback in the NFL making millions of dollars a year. Now, if it's retired, okay, you get your feathers ruffled, but it's not retired. So
Here's his
move
case,
on.
by the way,
What
Bud, to
think
add
about it?
this in, part of his lawyers or team, in part of their statement of anger, they said, hey, look at Joe Burrow. You guys haven't handed his number out, and that's not retired. You know, Jaden Daniels won a Heisman. Look at Joe Burrow over there. Like, if you're not going to give out his number, you're treating me differently, is what Jaden Daniels says to Joe Burrow.
And Bud, before you respond, isn't this a little bit like the Notre Dame Ara Parsegian promise to Rudy, and then Dan Devine comes in and becomes a skunk?
Oh,
Like, you
interesting.
for
I
not
never
giving
thought about it
Rudy
like that.
the opportunity to play, although eventually he obviously did let him play. Isn't there parallels
Spoiler alert.
here between the great story of Rudy Rudiger and now this blasphemy of putting number 5 on someone else's back so soon after everything that Daniels did for LSU, Bud? Come on, you must have a problem with that.
Well, there are times when I think I know a fair amount of what I talk about, but I did not know Ara Parsegian. You got that straight? He's promised.
He
He
promised
promised
Rudy Rudiger that he would
Rudy?
play.
Yeah, in the
game.
movie,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
like that. He
Era.
was going to give him a shot.
And
If
then
I
Ara
remember the movie correctly, that's
retired.
exactly what happens, right? And he
Yes.
leaves. New coach comes
They
in
hired
and
Dan
says,
Devine from the Green Bay
Right.
Packers.
"Yeah,
Dan Devine says,
exactly."
I don't care any promises that good old Ara made. I'm Dan
Yeah.
Devine. I'm in charge of my own thing. That kid ain't playing. I don't like him.
I did not know Ara Parsegian as part of that story, but anyway,
Yes.
look, I don't know that they're treating him differently than Burrow. I think that they've got a kid who wants number 5, and maybe if this kid wanted Burrow's old number, they'd give him Burrow's old number. And I would bet that Joe Burrow wouldn't say anything. I think Joe Burrow would say, "What do you want to do? I'm Joe Burrow. I got him the coolest guy in the league, therefore one of the coolest guys in sports, and I'm going to worry about what somebody's wearing my laundry down in Louisiana State." I don't think it's the same thing. I don't think they're saying, well, that's Joe Burrow, and you're not. I think they're saying that's what, 12? Burrow was 12?
9, I believe, was
9.
Burrow's
Yeah,
number.
9.
I think you're right. Burrow was 9, and you're 5? I mean, that's what it is. It's the number. It's not you or Burrow.
Well,
And look, and I'm saying we can talk about this all day you want, as long as you want. But it's really not worth talking about. It's silly. It's silly. Not you guys. I'm not saying, but it's silly that this would be even something that anybody would discuss. I guess I'm calling all three of us a little silly, I guess. But really,
although I feel like I would understand, but you're saying they're not, if some recruit wanted 9 instead of 5, that like, hey, that this would be the same thing the other way, like,
Correct.
and we'd see however Joe Burrow would respond. And you said they're not doing what I'm about to say they could do, right? To say it's not that it's Joe Burrow here and Jaden Daniels here. However, Joe Burrow orchestrated and was the quarterback of an undefeated team that won the national championship. If we were to have a contest of measuring where your career is, Jaden Daniels spent like most of his career at Arizona State and then transferred over. He won a Heisman. That's pretty cool. A small list of people have ever won the Heisman, but he had like a 9-3 season or something. Joe Burrow went like 15-0 winning the championship. So if it was a contest like that, Joe Burrow would also win.
Right. But it's not. We're talking about numbers.
Yeah.
And you're right. If you're saying who's had the better career, who's the better quarterback, who's on
In college,
Hall of Fame or whatever we're talking about. Yeah, Burrow's ahead of that race. But we're not. Now, on the other hand, I would say, and I've said it here, if a number is retired, it's retired. I don't think you should take, like Darryl Gross is always wanting to take the number out of the quote unquote rafters.
44, of course.
And I think that's nonsense. If it's retired, it's retired, and too bad. So I think that is quote unquote disrespectful, but I don't think an unretired number you have any, you're not attached to that in any way on the level of what we're talking about if the number is not retired.
And Lurch, I don't know if you remember the story. I'm sure you do. And Bud, I remember where he stands on this story, but it's worth bringing up in this conversation. God rest his soul, Floyd Little had joined us, and again, no longer with us, but he had joined us in studio a bunch of times. He had called in a bunch of times. I remember We're standing in the Score 1260 studios. It's Lurch, it's me, it's Floyd Little in there. And we asked him, hey, there's all this hubbub about 44 being taken down and slapped on some young kid's back. Are you cool with that, Floyd, or what? And Floyd said, of course I want the jersey to be back, because you want to know something, Paulie, or whatever the hell he called me? He just said, if they're putting 44 on the back, you know what they're going to talk about? They're going to talk about me all the time. Instead of just the jersey hanging up there, they're going to bring up me and Ernie Davis and Floyd Little. They're going to bring up all the greats that wore that number, and I'm going to be a living, breathing thing they bring up all the time. I said, oh, that's an interesting way to do it. And Michael Irvin just said the same thing recently about the 88 Club. He says, I love it. If, Des Bryant, who joined the 88 Club way back when, if he drops a pass, people are going to say, well, Michael Irvin wouldn't have dropped that pass. And you bring up sort of the 88 from that perspective. And I know, Bud, that you don't feel the same way, even though Floyd mentioned the 44 and living it on the field. I know you're not in that camp, if I remember correctly. Bud.
Well, absolutely not. No one, I bow to no one in my respect for Floyd Little. But we can have liked each other and enjoyed each other's company and still disagree. I think he was dead wrong then, and he's dead wrong now, and wherever he may be.
Yeah.
Once it's retired, it's retired. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And then to be so cheesy as to give it away to some 18-year-old kid who's arrogant enough to either ask for it or indeed demand it.
Mm-hmm.
And to cave into the demands or requests of a kid, I'd never do that. I like kids. I got kids, but I don't care what they're demanding. It's not their position to demand. So no way. So Floyd and I disagreed then, and we'll disagree for throughout eternity.
Yeah, that's a shame. I believe the guy who wore the number, and also, by the way, the guy that was given the number himself as a kid and turned it into something. But he turned the number into
that's the end of the Express movie. That's true.
What you guys aren't remembering is we've had other people who have been given 44 and have been a pedestrian player.
Wait, the last one was what? Rob Conrad?
Yeah, but there's a guy, Rich, and I never met the guy.
Yeah.
Okay, but Rich Pancision. What did he do, Mr. Stat, Mr. Football? Look him up.
There have been some clunkers.
What's he doing wearing number 44? So come on.
And how about Walter Reyes turning it down all those years ago? Saying,
God bless.
Thank you. I'll just stick with my good old 39. Okay, and go with the flow. All right. Speaking of numbers, Bud, here's another interesting number story for you. Kevin Garnett is having his number retired this upcoming season. So how do
Kevin
you feel
Garnett? Yeah.
What did I say?
Oh, you might have said that just in case.
So thoughts on Kevin Garnett, the great NBA player, getting the opportunity to have his number retired this season?
I have no thoughts. I mean, usually I have thoughts. I have thoughts. Tell me something, I'll think, and I'll say, here's a thought. I don't know that I have a thought. Good for him.
Did you like KG as a player? No? Yes?
I had a little trouble with his personality.
Okay.
He wasn't my kind of
Let's
guy.
get down to this. Let's get down to brass
Well, I
tacks.
don't know.
You and KG had a little rub, didn't you?
No, I never talked to
Just
him.
in a locker room? Where'd this happen? What happened?
I never talked to the man. I'll tell you who I talked to and who I interviewed and who I liked, who I didn't. From a personal experience point of view. But no, it's just as a fan sitting, watching, listening. I was ambivalent towards him.
Straight out of high school, turns into a star.
I know all about it. I know he was a really good player.
No love for KG. None.
He's going to the Hall of Fame. He's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I was about to say he's already in the Hall of Fame.
He's in the Hall. What am I talking? He's in the Hall of Fame. Deservedly so. Blah blah blah. That he's getting his number turned. Sis boomba. It's great. Wonderful.
Well, okay. Well, here's the quick follow comment on it. How does this make any sense? All right. So Kevin Garnett, as we all know, right? He came into the league. He started with the Timberwolves. He was with them from 1995 to 2007. That's a long time. And then, of course, he came over to my Celtics and won that beautiful championship in 2008. Right. Do you know that the Celtics retired that beautiful number 5 jersey 4 years ago? What the hell took Minnesota so long? He was there longer. That's where he had all the success before he came to the Celtics. We jumped on the train to retire the number 4 years ago, and now finally in 2026, we're like, something we haven't gotten to was KG. What happened there, Bud?
When you're right, you're right. That's kind of crazy. I will admit that. I'm not suggesting that he's deserving or not. I mean, I'm not just suggesting he's undeserving. I'm suggesting it's no big deal to me one way or the other. That's all.
Fair enough.
More interesting to me, while we're in the NBA, just more interesting, is that, and again, I'd have to do some studying because, I don't remember this guy blowing any wind up my bloomers. And that is, Amari Stoudemire is going to the Hall of Fame. Now, I don't know. And he's a good guy. I mean, good player, but Hall of Fame? I'm not sure.
So you think he's in the Hall of Very Good is what you're saying?
Yeah, sure. I just don't see him. I don't get it. I don't get Amari Stoudemire. And it just came out, I guess, today that he's been elected.
I think sometimes guys play afar too. I mean, when he was playing with Phoenix, I mean,
Steve Nash,
incredibly impressive. Yeah,
terrific.
I think sometimes when guys play a little bit afar from where we are here on the East Coast, we don't come to know about their legend. Obviously, he did play with the Knicks for a couple
that's what I was about to bring up. What about the Knicks legacy?
It was injuries that kind of befell him, unfortunately. But before being injured, he's one of the most athletic big guys we've ever seen in NBA history. So,
no, you didn't hear me say the guy was a stiff and couldn't play. But you heard me say that. I don't know. When I watched him play, impressive as he was, I did not say, "Wow, there's a Hall of Famer," running up and down the floor right in front of my eyes. I never said that, never thought it. And now I'm a little bit, that's kind of odd to me. But
okay. So let's use this as an example, Bud. So okay. I'm just using him just for this example, right? So Aaron Rodgers, would you say, forget all the recent years, with all the time with the Packers, do you think he's a future Hall of Famer?
I do.
Okay, right? And so he goes to these last couple of teams, my poor Jets and Steelers. He's sort of done nothing. Like he stunk. Are you of the mindset when players are great in a place and then they start just sort of hanging around too long that can affect their legacy in a negative way?
Not at all.
Okay, because I was about to bring up that Amari Stoudemire, he's had this very nice career, but most recently he was playing for the Fijian Sturgeons and the Maccabi Tel Aviv. Yeah. Like the last 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, the last 5 years of his career, he played in Jerusalem in some of these places like that. That doesn't affect the legacy that he's holding on for dear life, playing wherever the hell these places are.
Not at all. That's why I get a kick out of the idea that somehow, some way, this is a legacy-defining year for LeBron James. That if they win in Philly, then inarguably he's whatever we want to say he is in terms of the pantheon. And I'm like, he'd go out there and shoot 12% from the floor, and lead the league in turnovers, and he still is in the same place in the pantheon. He's no higher, he's no lower. He's a great player. He's in the top 5, 10, 3, 2, 1.
Titles? 5?
I said he's being in the top 5. Oh, you mean
no, I'm just saying if he won this year, he would have a 5th title. Like,
he's got 5 titles. He's got 5 titles. Will
Tim
Purdue.
Duncan?
Will Purdue. Oh. Will Purdue.
Don't give me
this. Will
Chicken guy.
Do. So don't tell me that LeBron James becomes somehow a better superstar, better. Don't tell me he becomes better if he has 5 titles versus 4 titles.
Kobe has 5. Tim Duncan has 5. What do you mean?
It's lovely. I think it's great.
Lovely.
But okay, if Duncan had 4 titles, would you think less of him?
I would.
This is what you're dealing with, Bud.
And I just said when you're right, you're right. Okay. And when you're wrong, oh, brother. You are wrong.
I didn't need that in the same interview. Jeez.
Man Child Show, Boy Green Digital at MC Show Digital. Don't forget to like the video. Also, we're marching towards 1,000 subscribers. Hit the subscribe button. There's the link right below. Go to that. Hit subscribe. It's absolutely free, and you'll help get us to 1,000. That'll get us out to more viewers. We're presented today by Northeast Roofing Professionals. Today's video brought to you by our friends at Cam's Pizzeria. 30 seconds from Cam's. We're right back. More with Bud right after this.
When you think of Cam's Pizzeria, think about 2 of your favorites. Their zesty buffalo chicken wing pizza or their tasty chicken bacon ranch. Over 16 specialty pizzas made fresh daily with the best ingredients. Indulge in their homemade calzones, subs, wraps, salads, and their famous cannolis for dessert. They're all made with love just for you. Order online for 10% off at camspizza.com. Locations in Camillus and Oswego. Cam's Pizzeria. It's love at first slice.
All right, we're back. Man Child Show with Boy Green Digital at MC Show Digital. Our handle. It is our Brunch with Bud segment, and still some giggling going on. What's the giggling? Go ahead.
Because Bud has another comment to make. Please, Bud.
Well, first of all, And I love this guy. And there's all a bunch of them, like Larry Siegfried. Have you ever heard of Larry Siegfried?
I have not. No.
All right. Larry Siegfried, I think, has like 10 NBA titles. Bill Russell was his teammate, so that had something to do with it.
Okay.
But anyway, there was a movie which you guys may have seen, may have not seen. It was the most honored movie forever until Titanic, and then that other movie came along. But anyway, there's a movie called Ben-Hur. And in it, there's a kind of nice little scene where this old guy, broken down guy, he's in a bad way. The Romans have punished him or tortured him, and now he's lost the ability to walk and all that. And finally, Judah Ben-Hur comes back into his life after being on a slave ship and all that. And the guy looks at Judah Ben-Hur, and goes through all that he went through, and he said something along. He said, "Judah, I have lived too long," meaning, look at me, I've lived too long. I think I've been on this show too long. When people say to me that Tim Duncan would be a lesser player with 4, or that LeBron James will be a greater player with 5, stop it.
But let me ask you a question.
Stop it.
This
Robert
episode.
Horry.
Oh, how dare you! I
7.
knew you were going to bring him up.
7. Does that make him 3 titles better than LeBron James?
But this episode is brought to you by our friends over at Cam's Pizzeria. So let me use Cam's as an example.
Okay,
I give you a cannoli, okay? And it's got a little extra filling in it. Does it taste better if there's a little more filling than normal?
I get your thing, and I would say yes, although I've never had a bite of a cannoli. Okay.
Well, you should probably add that to the list. I have never tried a cannoli until Cam's down the street. There's the first cannoli I've ever had. Delicious. And you want to know what? I said, I see that there's 4 little dollops of filling in here. Can I have a 5th? I think it'll be a little bit better. It'll taste a little sweeter. And they said, sure, you're Paul Heston Jr. Of course we can do that for you. And boop, and they give me another bit of filling. 5 fillings tasted a little bit better than 4. Bud Poliquin? Yes, it did.
Okay, upon review, I think Dan Marino was a stiff as a quarterback.
Thank you. I've been trying to say that for years.
Russell Westbrook, a stiff. Ernie Banks, a stiff.
Yeah.
I mean, all these people. Ken Griffey
By the way,
Jr.
Russell Westbrook just retired
stiff.
this week. That's another guy that you probably don't care about, but he
all
retired this week.
All the people I mentioned never won a championship. They're all stiffs.
I say we kick them all out of the Hall of Fame.
Get them rid of all. Put in Robert Horry. Put in Will Perdue. Come on, look at the titles he won. Put in Larry Siegfried.
So it's just water buckets into the ocean. When they win one championship, you're like, 1, 6, 7, 12. That doesn't matter.
You don't have to win a championship to be a great player. You understand that?
But it puts you in a different category if you do.
Yeah, you won a championship. Doesn't make you a better player. Could Dan Marino have been a better football quarterback than he was?
Yes.
How so?
Clearly. I mean, throw it a little bit faster, get it to that target a little bit quicker,
One of the quickest releases in the history of football. And you're saying, well, he's only quicker
with him.
Apparently.
A couple milliseconds, and who knows?
I'm not going to convince you. You're into this championship stuff, this legacy stuff. I'm into just, are these guys good, bad, or ugly? And you're going to tell me Ken Griffey Jr. Yeah, circular conversation. Ken Griffey Jr., just for the record, according to you, was, he didn't win a title. How good was he?
I'm glad that you can you're picking up what I'm putting down. That's great news.
All right. There you go.
All right. One more quick NBA thing, and I want to do a little bit of baseball with you, Bud, before we get out of here. And this one is ticket price related. So finally, LeBron James obviously has chosen his destination. He lands with the Philadelphia 76ers. And obviously, Boy Green's former Celtic, Jaylen Brown, is over there as well. So they've retooled that roster and put it around some other pretty formidable players. If they can stay healthy, they certainly are one of, if not the favorite in the East going into the season. So the NBA finally put out its entire schedule. We know that Mr. Silver, Adam Silver, was waiting for LeBron and telling him, please hurry up. We got to put the schedule together. And unfortunately, we build this darn thing around you. All right. So they finally make all their decisions. And opening night, early October, it'll be the Knicks, the defending champions, against the Philadelphia 76ers with LeBron, with Jaylen Brown on that roster. Should be fascinating. Of course, where else but the Mecca, Madison Square Garden. So I figure, hey, maybe. I ought to maybe just look into. I couldn't, get to an NBA Finals games because the ticket prices were just so off the rack. I mean, I know this is opening night and it's going to be a little more expensive, but I mean, it's not the playoffs. It's not the NBA finals. Maybe I'll go down to New York, make a little trip, go hang out with my son, and maybe go to opening night, see LeBron play the Knicks, right? Shouldn't normal people, okay, I'll use the word normal around myself, be able to do that, to go down, visit their son who lives in New York and say, hey, son, let's go to a Knick game on opening night. I'm willing to pay a few extra ducats. Let's go do that and have a special night together. So I figure, okay. So I find out, the games are released. Let me go check on ticket prices. Bud, the cheapest ticket was nearly $1,700 for a single ticket. That means $3,400 if I want to go in the building with my son. That's before I even buy a bucket of popcorn, a soda, a hot dog, or whatever else, and a souvenir, whatever the heck else I'm going to do. So obviously, my question back to you, and we've talked about this ad nauseum, is what's up? Like, how far can this go that a normal person would have to pay $3,400 to get into a regular season NBA game?
Well, I would tell you that probably not far enough, because if you pay $1,700, you probably have paid $1,800. You probably paid $1,900. I mean, there's no limit to the foolishness of the consumer. But let me just say that I think if the NBA, and they did, the NBA waited. It did. It waited to hear what LeBron wanted to do, and we're going to manipulate the schedule and so on and so forth. That game should have been played in Boston, because I think it's a fantastic game. The interest is going to be off the charts. I get all that. But Jaylen Brown going back to Boston with LeBron in tow, I think I think that game deserved that site, not the Mecca. And stop with the Mecca. Stop. You New York people are making me crazy. You're making me crazy.
See, you think TD Garden is the better garden, yes?
I'm saying for this game, because of the Jaylen Brown / LeBron James.
You like the storyline better.
I like the storyline better in Boston. Guess what, Mr. New York? You have to agree with that. That's
right. Yeah, I wouldn't argue.
I'm right. I'm right.
Yeah.
There's nothing to talk about. That's a better game in Boston than it is New York. And yet, because we have to talk about the Mecca, because it's New York City, and Jaylen Brunson has to play his first game, in the Garden. That game should be in Boston, and you know it.
Agreed. So, Lurch, I don't know if you'll reveal this. So, you said you were willing to pay a couple extra ducats above whatever the line normally would be. What's your number?
Where would you go, Moneybags?
Because you have to have a number. Lurch, like if you go into a pawn shop, you bring some in, you're like, all right, I'm starting here, but, they shoved me. All right, I get down to here.
What was I thinking before I clicked the button? Is what you're saying.
Exactly. What's the number?
I'll pay $100 a ticket. Sure. I'll go.
Right, what's the number?
I think that realistically, before I clicked that button and found out what the price was, I was thinking, all right, maybe we can get a ticket for $350. That's what I was thinking. So I was thinking $700.
No way you're doing that.
I'm not saying I would have done it. I'm saying that's what I was expecting.
Well, the question is,
so if you were expecting it, then you would have done it. Yeah. What's the furthest you would have pushed? That's what me and Bud
answer the question.
Yeah, come on, man. Don't dodge.
My son's Mr. Moneybags, so he would.
Make him fork over the bill. Nice. Sounds like you guys could still go.
Honestly,
but that doesn't answer the question.
I probably would pay, knowing the situation. I probably would have paid $300 for my ticket. Yes.
Per ticket. So you and your son. So 600 bones.
We just met. Yes. What's your name again? Have you and I just met? And you're telling me you would have spent $300 for a ticket?
Yes.
No.
And also this, right? So that's
Never
not even it, right? So I question whether he would have paid it. And then we say, if you go to a game, well, you got to get a popcorn. You got to get a drink. You got to get a souvenir. All of a sudden, we're approaching what?
Yeah. Now, look.
But I was just looking at, just to put it in perspective, I was just looking at tickets this morning. All right. I'm trying to get ahead of the game if I'm going to do any shows or any fun things coming up here as we get through, the fall and the winter months. And, as you know, tickets go on sale well in advance. And last year, as you guys know, and we've talked about it on the podcast, I went down to see Jerry Seinfeld for the first time do stand-up comedy at a beautiful theater down in the city. And so I just happened across the fact that Billy Crystal is out this coming year doing all kinds of shows. Right. And he's doing some shows at this wonderful place right near Broadway. I don't know if it's an off-Broadway or if it's considered a Broadway theater called the Imperial. You know Broadway better than me, Bud. Is the Imperial a Broadway or not? But
I think that's Broadway.
I'm like 45th right off of Broadway. So anyway, Billy Crystal, he's doing a residency very much like Seinfeld was doing over the course of several weeks. So I was like, oh, my lovely would love that. She loves Billy Crystal. I love Billy Crystal. I'd love to kind of see him before he stops doing this kind of stuff. We had so much success with Seinfeld. Maybe I'll go see Billy Crystal. And so there's a ton of dates, but I mean, you got a choice of, maybe 20, 30 dates. And the cheapest ticket I could find for Billy Crystal was about $170 per ticket. And I was like, yeah, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that for Billy Crystal. And if I want better seats, I'm probably going to pay $250 a ticket. Would I do that? Do I want to sit, closer to the stage for $250? So, yeah, it's not that far off to say I'd pay $300 for, because that's probably the only Knick game I'm going to this season. So, live it up, as they say, and plus it'd be a kind of a special thing with my son. So there you go.
Okay.
But I'm not paying $1,600, I can tell you that, or close to $1,700.
Okay.
You can forget about that nonsense.
Okay. Here's one last random money thing, because me and Tatiana were bringing this up earlier. Okay. So a cruise ship. Okay. I have any of you guys been on a cruise ship before?
I have not.
No.
Lurch?
No.
Nope. Okay.
I have no desire to go on a cruise ship.
I never had any desire to go on, and then eventually I got peer pressured into it, went on, because I was like, man, if you get on a boat, what if you get seasick? What's going to happen? Like, geez, no thanks. But anyhow, I went on and it was fine. But to me, I don't care where I stay on the boat. Now that I've tried it and I like it, I don't care where I stay on the boat. Shove me in the janitor's closet. I'm just sleeping there. Everything else is all the experience. But I just heard this thing that you can pay extra to have a balcony. And insane prices if you want the balcony, and you wake up, look at the sunset. I told Tatiana, I'm like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. If I want to see the sunset, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get up from my bed, walk out the door, and boom, it's going to be right there.
No,
Who in their right mind is paying extra for a balcony seat? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
How many people have to get out of bed to watch the sunset? That's what I want to know.
I don't know.
Most people get out of bed to watch the sunrise, but not.
Oh yeah, I just Jared Goffed it. That's funny.
This is a vampire. This is a vampire right here.
Okay, I screwed up. I Jared Goffed that Hard Knocks a bunch of years ago. Hey, do you know where the sun sets and the sun rises? Huh? What? And yeah, he did all that. So yes, I totally butchered that. But come on, man, who pays extra for that when you're on a boat? You can leave where you are and go see it at any point. All you do is sleep in there. Who's paying extra for that? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
All right, but last we go to baseball. 2 quickies for you in baseball. The first one, there's nothing I enjoy these days more, and you know this from a couple of videos ago. We talked about the LA Dodgers and their ridiculous deal with Tariq Skruple. So the Dodgers bullpen is kind of falling apart, and they're starting to lose some games, and I am enjoying immensely. Anything that the Dodgers do wrong these days, I am a big fan of. As a matter of fact, I'm a fan of everyone in baseball except for the Dodgers. This is my new mantra in baseball this season, is anybody but the Dodgers, make the Dodgers lose, will the Dodgers to losing. I cannot root for this team, and I am loving it. Edwin Diaz is out there falling apart, and they can't find anybody else to close out their games, and as a result, they're losing some baseball games. Love it, love it, love it.
But do you have short-term memory loss? Last week, this guy was saying Dodgers versus the world. You were willing to bet on them.
What's happened is unfair, and I'm not rooting for it, and it's wrong for the game. And now I'm doing nothing but rooting against that team.
Most baseball fans, they'd say their second favorite team is the team that's playing against the Dodgers.
Right. Yeah.
And I would say I would agree with that. I'm enjoying this, but I think it'll be short-lived. But I'm talking against my own better instincts that in a short series, anybody can win and anybody can lose. So we do have a chance. We anti-Dodger people, and there are millions of us. There is a chance, and not an insignificant one, that when you get into a short series, a bloop single here, a bad hop there, you might be able to knock them off. There'll clearly be overwhelming favorites, despite Edwin Diaz's problems in August. We can only hope. I mean, I think it might be somewhat futile to root against the hope the Dodgers could lose, but they can. So I agree with you. In the here and now, let's take our small victories. And if Diaz is going to fall apart, I say great. And I've got nothing against him. It's against the Dodgers. I want to see the Dodgers collapse. I don't want to pick on poor Diaz. Not that he's so poor, but I don't want to pick up on the unfortunate Diaz. And it's baseball unfortunate. And that he's out there on this ridiculously stacked all-star roster, and he alone, sort of kind of, is responsible for these last few losses because he's given the lead, he's given the ball. Now just do your job, and he hasn't been able to do it.
Hey, by the way, note to all of baseball, don't ever pick up former Mets. We stink. Just going to make you worse, man. And Edwin Diaz is living proof of that these days.
But we're from New York. We're from New York.
That's the Knicks, bud. Be careful. Back up, my friend. All right, last one. I know you are a big fan of the movie Field of Dreams, and
Yeah.
baseball now for a bunch of years has been doing this game out in Iowa at the supposed, quote, Field of Dreams with the corn stalks around them, and Corn Boy now popping up as a household name. And in that game last night, Kyle Schwarber bopped 2 home runs in the Field of Dreams game. So, Bud, do you still have the same reverence, dare I say, for this game that baseball now puts on annually out in Iowa?
Baseball makes a lot of money and keeps a lot of fans and makes a lot of fans with its look back. It's a very nostalgic sport. We're not doing this with basketball. We're not doing this with football. We're not doing this with hockey. We're not doing it with golf. We're not going to go out there and play with wooden shafts in golf. But baseball loves, wearing the old uniforms and, blah, blah, blah. And I, for one, I'm a sucker for this stuff, so I'm all for it. I will say, however, that it came and went. I had our daughter, our son-in-law, and their 3 children, as opposed to anything that is mine. It's their 3 children. They were here and they just left this morning. So I forgot all about it. I didn't watch an inning of it. So I wish I had, because I would have enjoyed what I'm looking at. More specifically to Schwarber, I think that, I don't know that anybody would have said this 5 years ago, but if Kyle Schwarber plays up to his contract, and so far he is, he's going to go to the Hall of Fame. And he might go in as a first ballot Hall of Famer, Kyle Schwarber. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because what he does very well. He hits the ball on the other side of the fence. And when he's off the field, he seems like a terrific guy, which shouldn't matter, but does. People who vote are human beings. They don't like to vote for jerks, and they often don't. They do like to vote for nice guys, and they often do. And I don't know that anybody would have said it 5 years ago, but I think Kyle Schwarber is on a course. He could fall off of it. He's on a course to go to the Hall of Fame. Now, he might turn into Cal Raleigh on us. Cal Raleigh went from Babe Ruth to who knows what he is today. And Schwarber could just lose it overnight. Power hitters can do that. They lose just a bit, in reflex, and they're no more. But Schwarber is a really dangerous player. And what he did last night, granted in a bandbox, he still did what he did. He had 2 home runs. He leads all of baseball in home runs. He's going to hit 50 homers this year. What he does really well, and that could get him to the Hall of Fame should he stay healthy and productive.
All right, Arthur. Always good catching up with you, my friend. Glad you got through your week with your grandkids. And
that would be my daughter's children. Is that
yes, daughter's children, of course. And we'll talk to you again next week, my friend.
All right, boys. As always, a delight.